Listeners, we know you love Cricket et al., the podcast, and what's not to love, but you can also love us online and read Cricket et al., the Substack experience. Isn't that right, Pete?
That's right. It's a podcast, a website.
It's a way of life. cricketetal.com for all your cricket reading needs. It's Gideon Haig over here.
Peter Lawler over here.
And welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. It's the long aftermath of the shortest four-innings test match in Australia. Pete, you pointed that out the other day, 847 legal deliveries in Perth, followed by 3 interminable days in Perth for me. Oh, my word. Have I got some stories to tell you? So let's concentrate on the cricket, Pete.
Gideon, can I just say on behalf of everybody in the et al. Village, we're so happy to have you home safe. Oh. We were so concerned. I hope you can recover from that experience.
When the jackhammers started going off on the last day, I thought this really has reached the point of pain. I can no longer laugh at this.
Anyone banging on your door in the night, any of that kind of stuff?
No, but there was a man who used to come by picking up cigarette ends every night. Very, very nice and tidy.
Yeah. Does keep the place tidy, though.
It does. Yeah. And it needed all the help it could get. Anyway.
But I would have figured you'd be smoking right down to the filter. You're so stressed by the situation. Lighting one from the other one.
That was all that was left.
Did you take up smoking?
Oh, look, it felt like it. Anything to shorten my life.
Anyway, we've escaped Perth, but will we ever escape that test match? I mean, have you ever seen so much compacted into 2 days?
Yeah.
And so much that needs to be unpacked. But no matter how much needs to be unpacked, how the hell are we going to make it 13 days to the second test?
I mean, test matches are getting shorter and we are getting more results. It's it goes with the territory. It goes with result pitches in the World Test Championship. It goes with T20 sensibilities. I think it goes with player fatigue, test matches on top of one another. But this is interesting because England
these are not fatigued cricketers.
No,
when was the last time either of these teams played a test match?
Exactly. And when was the last time that the England team played competitive cricket? As one of our commenters pointed out, the last competitive cricket that Zach Crawley played before facing the first over of the Ashes was a T20 on the 6th of September, 76 days ago. So much for the jam-packed schedule that Ben Stokes is wont to refer to. But
I wonder how much of it was nerves more than, we talk about them being worn down on the road, but the nervous energy involved in any test match is significant. Yes. Well, I always remember Hazelwood getting those full body cramps on the first day of his first test in Brisbane. But an Ashes test in a stadium like that with 50,000 plus people, the pressure was intense, wasn't it? All the players talked about the sound that was coming in from the crowd.
The pressure was intense, especially when you'd gone a long time without experiencing that pressure. England had come playing at Lilac Hill in front of 3 men and a dog, the 3 Englishmen and a dog anyway, conditions that didn't remotely replicate what they were stepping into. And perhaps that's as much part of the challenge as anything technical or temperamental. It's harnessing your nervous energy. I mean, there was quite an interesting piece by Stephen James in the Times the other day where he talked about having interviewed Crawley after the 2023 Ashes, and Crawley admitting to him that he had set himself to hit the first ball of the series for 4.
Yeah.
It's the degree to which they premeditate now. It looked like he wanted to do it once again, but he just chose completely the wrong conditions in which to do so.
It's incredible to think that at the lunch session on the second day, which was the last day of this test match, England are in the ascendancy. I was down there on the boundary around that point, and it felt like an English home crowd. And everywhere you looked were English banners around that stadium. I almost got my back up about that. I think that's not right. And then it swung and the match went another way. Imagine,
Pete, if you remember that in that last over before lunch, that last
delivery,
there was that review, that 50-50 review that went England's way, and that when reviews can't do that, you tend to think, is that a precondition or an indication of the direction of the game? So England went into lunch full of piss and wind,
feeling the game's on their side, Gideon. No matter how hard they tried, they could not nick the ball in that. And they had a few attempts at nicking.
They did, and they made up for it afterwards.
Immediately afterwards, I don't think every time the ball seemed to catch the edge of the bat, didn't it? Australia, of course, adjusted their lines. Yes. But my point is, the incredible about face, not just in the game, but in the pressure that the two sides are under now. I mean, imagine if Australia had dropped that game, where the debate would be. And it all revolves around about 2 hours of cricket, really. Yeah.
Well, I dare say we'd probably be harking back to Perth last year.
Well, we would. And I was going to say, remember Perth last year? It's sackcloth, ashes. Burn the witches.
It was young old team, leading indicator of the series. India's greater athleticism versus Australia's old stages.
Pat Cummins' poor preparation.
Old stages.
Pat Cummins' poor preparation was a big thing. Golf's the big thing now, of course. Guess what I've been doing the last couple of days?
Organising the Chapel Foundation Golf Day.
Going to a golf driving range with my son.
No, really?
I know. I never thought it would happen.
Goodness.
I still can't step on a course.
No.
But it's quite good fun, actually.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. A bit of father-son bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never swung a golf stick?
A long time ago, and not with sort of desultory interest. I could never really get into it.
I went up about 6 weeks ago with Harry and Sue and was just playing straight drives.
Yeah.
So I had to go home and think about it. How do you... Interesting. Anyway.
Speaking of distinguished golfers, Pete, you wrote a couple of days about Usman Khawaja, the Usman Khawaja question. You rehearsed the various arguments for keeping him in the 11. Where do you stand on this? Where have you ended up on the spectrum of opinion about Khawaja's place for Brisbane?
Yeah, I don't think he should have one.
Interesting, right.
Where did you land?
Well, it's ironic, isn't it? Because if you recall the presser after the series in the West Indies, where Ronnie was asked about Khawaja's position, and he'd averaged less than 20 on the tour. And McDonald inked him in and said, we see him playing a part during the summer. He's got great experience. We feel he's still moving well. I mean, you couldn't have come up with a more perfect formulation for what he wasn't doing in Perth.
No.
He looked like a gouty old man.
It's an unfortunate injury for a 38-year-old man. As somebody in the camp said to me the other day, well, my 13-year-old son has had back spasms. Is that because he's too old?
Yeah.
I said, well, the perception's the reality here. You fall over, I have a fall. It's because I'm 20 years older than you.
I guess the other issue is, and I did wonder about it at the time, did Australia need that experience when they already had Smith, Labuschagne, Head, Carey, Stark and Lyon? This is not a team that's short on experience. If anything, short on a little bit of vitality. We do notice, don't we, that Matthew Renshaw's made another 100 in this round of Sheffield Shield cricket. You can look at Khawaja averaging less than 25 in his last 10 home tests. He's got a big birthday coming up. He'll be entering his 50th year on the 17th of December.
If it's a case of bringing Renshaw in for Khawaja, I'm giving Khawaja more time.
Okay, right.
You know, if it's a case of Travis Head opening,
right,
that's where I think.
And you want Travis Head to open because you want Webster in the 11?
No, because I think that it's an experiment worth pursuing.
Okay.
When you get results like you did in that second innings, when it turns the game on its head the way it did, when the alternative you don't have much faith in the traditional model, I think it's worth trying. I think I don't think they will. But I'm not alone in thinking this. I think I could count 1, 2, 3, at least 3 former Australian Test openers who think it's the right thing to do. Ponting thinks it's the right thing to do. And it's funny, even a few people have popped up recently saying, well, I was suggesting this before the series.
Yeah.
In private conversations with the selectors. You don't think it's the right thing to
do?
do?
It's certainly the right thing to do in circumstances. You know, he's done it successfully in India. He did it successfully in Sri Lanka, where, you know, that his impactful stroke play against a hard ball can be decisive. And that was a position that was perfectly set up for him, wasn't it, on that last day?
Yes, it was.
The minute that he walked down the steps coming out of the view, you go, yeah, this is a great call. This is a great ball because it's a free hit. You've got, and in fact, Head said afterwards that he felt no pressure because he knew that Labuschagne and Smith were coming after him. He kind of got the opportunity to play as he does. Now, the other thing...
also, the England was surprised by it and hadn't discussed it and had no plans.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was obvious, you know, and plan A didn't work and plan B was being made up on the spot.
Would it have worked on the first day had Travis Head opened against that England?
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So say England bat first in the day-night test, and then Australia have to bat under lights with a new ball.
Yep.
Is that a situation for a Travis Head?
Yeah.
Is that more of a situation for a Travis Head than when the going's easier?
Yeah. I still like it as an option rather than that you go with all the time, because
I'd settle for that. Yeah,
it does cost you a player who can have incredible cyclonic impacts at number 5. Actually, one alternative that people have talked about in the media is Khawaja going in at number 5.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, interesting. I think he would need to bat differently at number 5 to the way in which he's been batting at number 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
He could easily, if he continued batting that way, he could easily slow you down at the point where you might be wishing to accelerate.
That said, you could be anchoring Green and Carey and move the game along.
Yeah. Anyway,
McDonald said in the aftermath of the match that they discussed this about being reactive and using him in the second innings. I'm interested by the source of that idea. I wonder if it's because you have a bowling captain who perhaps doesn't have as much respect for batting and the batting group as you do when you've traditionally got a batting captain. And I think he's flagged that a few times with his whole, doesn't matter where you bat, you're a good batter, you can anywhere in the top 6. Stop making out like it's rocket science, boys. And how about making more runs while you're at it? And also that Cummins has that sort of interest in new ideas and new business thinking and sort of thinking outside the square. I wonder if that's where it comes from, that idea of using Head.
Probably also a T20 sensibility. You know, it's interesting that we've become more rigid in our thinking about test match batting. We've become more flexible and more inclined to experimentation in T20. We often talk about the way in which T20 is meant to be impacting Test cricket, but maybe this is the last domain in which T20 has not had an impact on our thinking.
And batting according to the situation is very much a T20 tactic, isn't it? You come in according or bowling according to who's batting or whatever. Yeah. So who's your 11 then for Brisbane? Remember Cummins is available too now.
Well, that's another interesting imponderable. I wonder if
do you think he deserves a game?
I wonder if he's going to play consecutive games, because you'd probably be inclined to play him in Brisbane and maybe not in Adelaide.
It's a good break between Brisbane and Adelaide. It's another 9-day break.
Another break. Oh, God, I never thought I'd be so negative about breaks. They never think about us, do they, Pete? They're always so selfish and think about themselves. They never think of the amount of speculative twaddle that we have to fill airtime with.
You got stuck in a shithole in the valley in Brisbane. I'm looking forward to this. What's the worst part of Brisbane? I don't know. And probably best not to say it.
But, I think I might be just about to find out, actually.
Might become part of your shtick.
If it's another 2-day test match, I don't know what I'm going to do.
You can walk home. At least you can walk home from Brisbane.
Maybe I'll drive home. Maybe I might get a lift with Mark Wood.
Mark Wood, yes. It was Mark Wood who said that when Head walked out. He said, well, we hadn't considered that. We just assumed that they would slide up as they had in the first innings. Yeah. So it did catch them out. So
who's my 11? Yeah, I probably wouldn't go with Khawaja. I had reservations about him at the top of the summer. They've been kind of confirmed, but strange enough, I think I'd probably bring Renshaw in. I think he's coming to the boil at the right time. I also don't think we're going to need a sixth bowler. We didn't need a fifth bowler in Perth. These are going to be quick test matches. I think this is a good opportunity to play Renshaw at the Gabba in front of his own crowd. Usman Khawaja tells us that he's ready. So wouldn't that be ironic? Yeah.
The Head thing is interesting, isn't it? Because when is the most effective time to use Head? And the pink ball is a ball that goes flat, as you say. But are you more effective? Are you better having a hitter like him against the flat ball or the hard new ball? Because sometimes a flat ball's hard to get away, isn't it?
I don't
think anything's hard to get away for Travis Head.
I don't think the hardness of the ball makes a lot of difference to Travi. If it's hard, he'll soon see to that.
Yeah. What about England? What are they going to do? I mean, you were very strong in your piece in condemning their lack of respect for the traditions of Ashes cricket in a way.
It just seems to me like cricket common sense that you would pay some heed to the value of competitive cricket. We often, I know that correlation is not causation, but the last time that England succeeded in Australia, I know it's wearisome to repeat it, was when they played a suite of matches, first-class matches against strong competition going into the first test. With best will in the world. The best net training cannot prepare you for high-level competition. We continue ignoring that lesson. I don't think Zach Crawley was not ready for the challenge of batting in Australia. Ollie Pope, I don't think was ready, despite the fact that he had played here before. I think it was a big leap up for him. I think he's a natural number 5. I don't think he really suits England at number 3. Joe Root wasn't ready. Well, at least he gave the sense that he got caught up in the excitement every bit as much as everybody else. And Harry Brook was just taking the piss in the second innings.
And it needs to be pointed out that nobody can blame that pitch.
No.
It almost felt to me like the match referees had given the batters the middle finger. Okay? Fucking hell, guys. That's a good pitch.
Yeah.
Don't you dare blame that pitch.
Well, it certainly wasn't a 2-day test match pitch.
No. But I want to get to about that piece that you wrote. I'll see if I can find the right...
Pete, a VPN, a virtual private network. Have you ever needed a VPN?
Of course I've needed a VPN, Gideon, because I spend a lot of my life on the road. And when you're on the road, a VPN is critical for a number of reasons. One, you can tune back in and watch all of the things that you want to watch in territories that you're not in, but you've paid your subscriptions for. 2, when you're on the road, you are exposed. You're using public Wi-Fi in airports, in hotels, at cricket grounds, and you're easily hacked. If you've got a VPN, Well, you're covered. And if you've got a Surfshark VPN, you're more than covered.
That's what you need, isn't it? That's where the smart money is.
You know what a VPN is, don't you? Tell me.
I do now. I mean, I've looked it up. It masks your real IP address by changing your virtual location, and it really does allow you to feel completely protected online. If you're not using one yet, you're leaving yourself open to tracking, geo restrictions, and price hikes based on your location, and you don't want that. Pete, what are the benefits? Tell me about the benefits of a Surfshark VPN. Pete.
I feel like I met Surfshark on a dating app. It's got so many benefits. The first benefit, as I mentioned before, is you get around geo-blocked content. So when I'm in England covering the Ashes and I want to watch the Aussie rules and I've paid all my money to watch the Aussie rules at home, I can kind of tiptoe around and watch the Aussie rules or watch any other sporting event I want. It doesn't matter where you are. You will not be geo-blocked if you've got a Surfshark VPN.
And the second benefit is, thank God for both of us, you get 24/7 support. You can talk about tech issues you've had, and Surfshark 24/7 support responds like humans, not robots.
And that's good, isn't it? Because I love a chat when I get those people on the line. I've paid for this. You're going to listen to me because I've reached that age where I do like a chat, Gideon. There's an extra benefit. It's the Surfshark password alert. Now, a VPN doesn't stop you being hacked as such, but if you have been hacked, if anybody has looked at your account, is anyone's got into your emails, your credit card info, your passwords, which happens all the time, you will be instantly alerted to this by Surfshark VPN because it does not sleep. It's constantly monitoring your security online.
Really,
Sharks don't sleep. They've got to keep moving.
You've got to keep moving, exactly. So, look, it's time to take control of your online security. If you try Surfshark today, you can enjoy their 30-day money-back guarantee.
Secure your digital world now. Visit the link in the show notes below, just down there, and start surfing securely. Or maybe they're up there.
Could be up there.
Yeah.
No, do you really?
And if you're listening on, if you're just listening to a podcast, which is very old school, I don't know where you're going to find them. Maybe you have to, maybe there's an address you could tell us about.
Yeah, if you go to surfshark.com /cricket et al. Or click the link in the show notes, wherever they are, you can get an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN.
I'm signing up for that. You said, England, you're here for the Ashes, staged over 5 tests since 1890s. Inherent in what you've come to Australia for are ideas of tradition, continuity, precedent. You are the beneficiary of colossal historical endowments. It would do you no harm and conceivably some good to invest in them now and again.
This was in the context of the Prime Minister's 11 match, which I think has which was agreed to in July. I think with the understanding that Australia would field a strong team. It wouldn't be or the Prime Minister would pick a strong team, a team that would genuinely test England, with a belief that it would be good preparation for Brisbane because a pink ball would be used. I appreciate that Manuka Oval is not batting at the Gabba, but frankly, what is except batting at the Gabba? I mean, if you're not going to play competitive cricket at the Gabba, you might as well play it in Canberra. And I also think, call me old-fashioned, Pete, but the Prime Minister's 11 does matter. I think, it's been a more or less continuous fixture since 1951. India had no difficulty in playing their first choice players last year. I mean, if anyone's going to be resting players for a game like the PM's 11, it's going to be India, but they didn't. Rohit Sharma played, Jadeja played. It was a strong team that they put out. They took it seriously. England are not taking this stuff seriously. Look, in the end, the difference between that and nets at the Gabba, I don't think is going to be pronounced. So why not?
Australia have named a good side too.
A good side.
Yeah. It's not like they're disrespecting the opposition.
And instead, England are going to field their Lions team, who just been bossed by a thrown together CA11 at Lilac Hill. If the PM's 11 knock over the England Lions in short order, that's going to look bad. And anything that the England Lions accomplish, anything good that they do, is irrelevant. So you've sort of neutered this game altogether. And I just think I know that this is about winning and it's not about public relations, but it's not endearing this England team to an Australian public or even to its own public. I met some particularly, people, I met some people on the way over from my last helicopter out of Nam to the eastern states, who had planned to go to Canberra to watch the PM's 11 game, England supporters, and now they weren't going to get the opportunity to watch their first choice team, having been stuck in Perth for 3 days, trying to make the best of watching the Lions at Lilac Hill and not really enjoying it because the Lions got flogged by 8 wickets. So I don't know. It's an insular decision, and I think it was a decision that bordered on arrogance.
So if I'm Brendan McCullum and I've listened to what you've said, and I have no respect for the traditions of the Ashes because I'm a Kiwi. I don't mean that seriously though. Say, yes, sure, the last team that won had that long lead-in and practice period. But many, many, many teams who came here and got shat on also played a lot of practice games too.
Yeah.
They have now announced that they're doing centre wicket practice under lights in Perth.
That'll make all the difference.
Wow. I suppose you can at least control the situation. You're not going to create any competitive tension, but I'd probably argue that in a Prime Minister's 11 there wouldn't be too much of that anyway. I don't think the critical outcome there is winning the match.
No,
if you're one of those senior players, but yeah, I tend to agree with you. They are almost contemptuous of the traditions of cricket, aren't they? This mob, and yeah.
I think it's
everyone in England's upset with them, aren't they? I mean, this is a terrible situation for them to be in.
Well, Mike argued the contrary position. Mike Atherton in his piece in the Times, and it was a typically well argued and thoughtful piece that England should be going on to Brisbane and enjoying. Enjoying the facilities at the Gabba and taking advantage of the opportunity to practice under lights, because the experience of practicing under lights in Brisbane is completely different to the experience of practicing under lights in Canberra. I mean, Jamie Smith won't know the difference because he's never done any competitive batting against the pink ball.
Well, mate, he might be like Bradman. I'd never noticed what colour. I never really noticed what colour it was. It was just the size. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah. And I think Bill Ponsford was colourblind too. So, and he
as well, was he?
Yeah. But I think when you prepare this way for cricket, the only way that you can play is the way that England is playing. If you do prepare for cricket competitively against quality opposition in matches that count for stakes that are material, you can play all the ways. You can adapt to circumstances. You can respond to a pressure situation by battling through a spell and coming out the other side, which is what England signally failed to do in Perth. You can be carried along by adrenaline in the way that England's attack were in the first innings, but you're going to find it difficult to back up, particularly if your batters have only been able to give you 35 overs rest.
And that was telling, wasn't it? I mean, the England attack was criticised for being a little lacklustre as that second inning progressed, but they barely got off their feet.
And they'd thrown everything into that first innings, hadn't they?
Yeah. Makes me wonder actually whether they'd bother with Wood in Brisbane.
If he's only going to bowl 3 overs in the second innings, then I think we can almost take it as read that he's not fit to get through a test match, even a 2-day test match.
He did a It's unusual. I've been listening to podcasts lately. I don't know do that, but it's just trying to fill in the void. He did a very nice one. I think it was with Brody. I couldn't actually identify the voice, so I should be able to. Where he said that during the collapse, he was icing from his, from assumably from the effort of bowling the day before or something, and on some sort of timing machine as to how long before he could get the ice pack off and that wickets were falling and things like that. So as you suggest, I think he wasn't ready to go again. No, he was still attempting to get through his recovery.
Yeah. I think when all those wickets fell, I noticed how slow Stokes was getting out to the wicket. It seemed like he'd probably climbed down off the treatment table and had to strap his pads on.
They're not young bodies, these people we're talking about.
No. Look, it was strange. It was a strange Test match. England's behaviour was a little bit compulsive. We've actually solicited some questions, haven't we? From
we have. Yeah, why don't we have a look at them? Yeah,
which I'm just looking at the moment.
I feel like that guy on the Alan Partridge show who works the screen. Where are we?
Well, our friend Xavier Fowler.
You've got them up, have you?
Very good sports historian, Xavier. Hello, welcome to the show. He says, does the current English team under Bazball remind you of Australia under Lehman and the Australian way, both possessing a fundamentalist and conformist ideology that promises lots and delivers little? Now, I think that's a bit unfair. I think it's actually delivered quite a lot. We shouldn't forget that before McCullum took over as England coach and Stokes as captain, I think England had won 1 out of 17 Test matches. And with basically many of the same personnel, they achieved an almost instant improvement in performances, significant. So that is a demonstration that a coach and a new mentality and a fresh approach can yield strong instant dividends. But I think it is a little bit like Australia under Lehman in the sense that it's run out of messages. And I felt this about Lehman during his coaching career, that he had one good trick, and in the end, it was leading to diminishing returns. And Lehman, of course, as a coach, undoubtedly stayed on too long, perhaps 18 months too long, because he couldn't really think of anything else to do. Because he was, I think that perhaps it needs a fresh approach on top of the fresh approach, Bazball. It's become very predictable. I thought the Bazballiest moment in Perth, Pete, was not during the collapse in mid-afternoon, but it was when Atkinson and Cass were batting, and they had a terrific stand. They
looked like they
really well. They put on 50 in 5.4 overs, and Australia were on the back foot all of a sudden. England was 7 for 122, and all of a sudden it looked like, Australia were massively on the defensive. Now there were 6 and 7 men out. So there was runs in every direction. And what does Cass do? He premeditates a ramp down the leg side and nicks off. Yeah. And like 2 overs later, the innings is done, and Australia's chasing 200 when they could have been chasing 250. And that would have made a huge difference to Head's approach.
I think the
wasted opportunity. I mean, that's just common sense cricket. You need to be able to take yourself out of the moment and say, right, this is the situation. I can score a single in every direction at the moment, and we can turn this into a really significant stand. The hard work is done. Now I can benefit from my earlier aggression, but they didn't have the common sense to do it.
I think there was somebody in the Australian camp said at one point and around those that a lot of plan A's worked, and that's really damning of the opposition because everyone knows how they perform, and spread out, we'll catch them on the fence because they no matter how many times they have been told that you can't hit over the fence in Australia as easily as you can in England. They attempted it, a little bit like the top order. No matter how many times they'd been told that you can't drive through cover in the early overs in Australia, they attempted it. I think that both of you are being unfair to Darren Lehman. Yeah, in your responses to that. I think sure, Darren Lehmann, all coaches' messages wear out. It's very unusual that a coach goes through their career and can reinvent themselves and reinvent their messages over a long period.
Sure.
I also think that that the Australian cricket team under Darren Lehmann, taking wins and losses out of it, was a far more flexible and intelligent unit than this one that McCullum and Stokes are leading. I'm sorry to say, but they genuinely look like one trick on and off the field, and hence oppositions do know that, well, in this situation, they do this.
Yeah.
And, sure as night follows day, they do that. I don't think you could say that about that Lehmann team. And in fact, they tried a number of approaches, not always successful, but I mean, and there was nothing mindless about their approach to the 2015 away Ashes. It wasn't successful, but it wasn't dumb.
No, it wasn't dumb, but it was limited. And I think, it was anyway. One of our other readers, Matthew Price, has compared Baz and Stokes to the parents of Ned Flanders in their inability to set boundaries. And he suggests they should have let Mark Wood drive to Brisbane. It would be perfectly in keeping with their anarcho-libertarian do whatever to hell with the consequences approach. I'll take that as a comment rather than a question. Thank you, Matthew.
I always remember, I'm not a huge Simpsons fan, but I always remember when Homer caught Bart smoking cigarettes behind the shelter shed.
Yeah.
So he sat down and smoked a packet with him. Bart became instantly a chain smoker instantly.
I'm reminded that didn't Warney refer to John Buchanan as Ned Flanders?
Yes.
He did.
Yes. Now, Lou, one of our favourite etalers, has said, was the first test so extraordinary and amazing that it really doesn't give us any good form line on what might happen in the next 4 tests?
Not a bad question.
Yeah.
You could, in theory, write it off to experience. You could write it off to being the product of 2 virtuoso performances in Mitchell Starc and Travis Head, and 2 England batting collapses. I think it was 5 for 12 in the first innings and 4 for 11 in the second. But cricket is full of events like that. It's a little bit like, apart from that, did you enjoy the play, Mrs. Lincoln? It's apart from everything, Test cricket is completely predictable.
What sort of form line does it give us? Yeah. Hopefully there are suggestions there as far as Australian cricket fans are concerned that Jake Weatherald looks like an opener, and not much. There hasn't been much discussion of his second innings.
I thought so
but
too.
He looks good. Yeah. He's an attacking batter. Score on the onside, all those sorts of things.
And he would be a beneficiary of a permanent promotion for Travis Head.
Yes.
They obviously work well together. I think Jake Weatherall has actually said he regards sort of Travis Head as his ideal cricketer, in the sense that he is just completely relaxed, comfortable with his game, except setbacks and success with equanimity. That's the ideal to which Weatherall himself is working towards.
Yeah, like good podcasters, they sort of locked in on their shtick, didn't they? You so Weatherall give him the little thumbs up when he got off the pair. I think he found it relaxing to have somebody like Trav out there. Yeah. But the other positives are, of course, Marnus Labuschagne in that second innings.
Yes.
Excellent. Were concerns in the first innings, I thought, and that he seemed to get bogged down like he had prior to being dropped. Smith, of course, fantastic.
And of course, you've got to think that the Australian form line is only going to get stronger with Cummins being potentially available at Brisbane and maybe Hazelwood for Adelaide as well.
Yeah,
they're getting closer and closer to their ideal side. England didn't have any significant outs at Perth. That was the team that I think they'd always had in mind for that first Test match. They got everything they wanted. They won the toss. They got the choice of innings. They in that sense they were able to dictate terms in their test matches. They might later on. Brisbane is always a risky test for any opposition coming to Australia. So Perth was a great opportunity for them, which they've failed to seize. You could easily see them slipping 2-0 behind, and with the best will in the world, it would be unprecedented for England to come back from 2-0. There's barely any precedent for them coming back from 1-0 down.
Yeah, they came back from 2-0 down at home, haven't they?
They came back there and drew the series in 2023 from 2-0 down. But in Australia, I think I'm right in saying they came back from a 1-0 deficit in the original Ashes series in 1882-83. They did that in 1911-12, the team led by Johnny Douglas with Barnes and Foster. And then in 54-5, of course, they lost the first test at Brisbane overwhelmingly by an innings and 139 runs. Leonard Hutton's team Leonard Hutton, of course, famously sent Australia in. They made 8 for 601, and nonetheless, England managed to come from behind and win that series 3-1.
Another time.
Indeed.
I think one positive. England would be very happy with the way Archibald. Cast bowled, even what Atkinson did wasn't as successful. It's got to be frustrating that that Jofra in particular is your golden apple, and you don't have a basket full of them, and you've wasted that effort in the first test match, and hopefully he can reproduce that in the second test match. More broadly, I'd say you can't draw. England is probably the one team in cricket history that you can't possibly draw a form line from because it pays no attention to what's just happened. It only deals with what's in front of it. So, ironically, what we criticise it about and what everybody criticises it about may actually turn out to be a positive in this situation. It's like, let's just go out there and play again.
Your greatest strength.
Anyone for golf?
Your greatest strength is always your greatest weakness, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, in this case, their weakness might be their strength.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. Whatever happened, asks Christopher Miley, to the Great Australian Bat-Off? I guess it's still going, isn't it?
Yeah. It's transformed itself, and I think the masked singer is Travis Head. Can you have a masked singer in a Great Australian Bat-Off? I'm not quite sure. The masked chef, the Swedish chef. I've been enjoying. Have you caught up with the work of one of our subscribers, Chris Doherty, who's doing an Ashes sketch notebook?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
He looks really good.
He did.
And in fact, he dropped one last night of Stuart Broad in his moment of despair, which was just shows you how sharp Ricky Ponting is. Ponting saw that happen out the corner of his eye and said to the cameras, "Get that, catch that moment." It's almost become the moment of the first test, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So Chris asks, will I be drawing an Aussie page for my notebook during the Brisbane Test or the Sydney one? Maybe playing golf. Look, I think Usman will be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think they'll pick him. I noticed that Mark Taylor had another go at George this morning and said in the past he hasn't had the appetite to make the call that he needs to make. So here's another test opener to add to the list who thinks that Head should be there.
It's interesting that George always gets the blame and Andrew McDonald never does.
Well, he's the head of selectors. So.
Yeah.
You aim it. You take your shot at the king, don't you?
Yeah, I think the chief selector would be. Certainly in my role at the Yarras as chair. That's my speaking from experience here. The aim was always to give the captain the team that he wanted, insofar as it was possible. Because it's very difficult to coach a team. We have some question about the legitimacy of the place of a player in the side. You always have slightly divided loyalties. And I think if McDonald was strongly partial to Khawaja playing in Brisbane and George was maybe 50-50, I think Khawaja would get over the line.
Any more questions?
Well, there's quite a lot of questions about South Africa, isn't there? South Africa's amazing.
Oh yeah, good
in India.
What an extraordinary result! How much do I love South Africa? I think I'm going to reverse migrate. I'm going to do a white replacement theory and go to South Africa. I love their cricket team at the moment. They are so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people asterisk their win in the WTC final because they hadn't played India, they hadn't played Australia. But now they've done something Australia couldn't by beating India in India, and comfortably so. And now Temba Bavuma has led South Africa to 11 victories in 12 matches, which means he has the most test wins as a captain without losing a test.
Say it again.
He's knocked off. Mike Brearley had previously had he'd won 10 from his first 15, but now Bavuma is ahead. And of course, there's no test matches in South Africa this summer, so we're going to have to put that record on ice for a while. But they've done. I mean, and they've done it where it counts, haven't they? They've done it in South Asia. They won in Dhaka and Chattogram last year. They lost the first one in Pakistan. They came back and they drew that series in Rawalpindi. And now they've won in Kolkata and Guwahati with a team where no one in their top six averages 40. They've picked Sinaram Mathuswamy as their extra spinner. He's bowled 9 overs and he's made 100. That's just brilliant. They've brought Simon Harmer back.
Now, Simon Harmer's the best story in cricket right now.
So after they won the WTC final, Harmer, who's playing county cricket for Essex, and he's kind of in exile from South African cricket, having originally taken a Kolpak deal.
10 years ago, he took a
10 years ago,
we said, you won't play for South Africa again.
Exactly. So he rings Shukri Conrad and Bavuma, and he says, you know what? I'd like to play. I'd like to play.
Right. They're coming out all right.
And it actually, I mean, there wasn't an obvious ready-made place for him because Maharaj is their first-choice spinner, and they had Muthuswamy, but they've given him a go, and the prodigal son returneth. He's taken 17 wickets at less than 9, and he's got less than 2 and over.
17 wickets at 8.94.
Remember when we used to say that India, they're brilliant players of spin. They just eat spin.
This has got to be an issue now, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm very concerned for Gautam Gambhir. He has a pretty poor record at home. They have lost 5 of their last 7 tests at home.
And the 2 that they won were against the West Indies.
Yeah. So, well, they're far more successful away.
They are, yeah.
Another thing that's going on here, Gideon, is when South Africa won the World Test Championship final, or made the World Test Championship final, mind you, everyone sort of cocked a snort and said, well, they haven't played anyone. They haven't beaten anyone. Good. Well, guess what? They go to Lords and they beat Australia. They go to India and they beat India. And what about Jansen? Jansen. Bloody hell. He's taken 12 wickets at 10. He scored a 93, didn't he, in that match, having a swing, and then he's taken that catch.
Yeah, brilliant catch, wasn't it?
The game.
They've taken, and they took some fantastic catches. I thought Rickleton's catch of Sudarshan, Markram was brilliant at slip, wasn't he? And that last catch of Reddy, that's just superb. And as you say, that Jansen catch at the end, you know, he's got his eyes on the ball all the way. He sticks out his big left dook. And it goes straight in. So
India seem to sort of rely a lot on bit part players.
Yeah, that's the
all-rounders, you know, and like,
that's the knock on Gambhir, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair to India, they've lost Gill in the first test. I mean, and also to be fair to South Africa, South Africa was missing Rabada in the second test. But they brought in Reddy, didn't they, as a swap for Gill? And that's not a like-for-like replacement. When you've already got in your squad 3 players who are sort of the same, you know, Jadeja, Washington Sundar and Axar Patel. And if they're going to continue playing on these this was not an unplayable pitch by any means. It's got through to the final day, but it's doing no favours. They've got pace bowling at the moment. They've got Siraj, they've got Prasidh Krishna, they've got Akash Deep, Harshit Rana. None of those guys are going to get a look in. Well, Siraj is playing at the moment, but he's almost just taking the shine off the new ball. And it's not going to help them overseas either, because I don't think Washington Sundar is really a batter who bowls. Don't seem to have any faith in Kuldeep Yadav. Aksar doesn't really work outside the subcontinent. They are limiting themselves in a way that at its best Indian cricket was not limited. In a way, we hark back to the Kohli regime, where Kohli was obsessed with the idea that India could succeed anywhere in the world. It didn't need the backing of its home conditions, and that was, I think, when India was at its most formidable.
So, yeah, Gautam says they're in a sort of rebuilding transition period.
Yeah.
Yeah, me. I never expected a country as strong and as sort of well-resourced as India to kind of fall back on an excuse like that. You mentioned the pitch, and it did get to a fifth day. But did you notice there was the usual suspects casting aspersions on the Perth pitch?
Yes,
Sonny was quick on that one. 2-day test, bad for cricket. And I think Harsha, of course, followed him in. Sonny loves bringing that one up.
And Harsha loves following in.
I'm not sure do you think that they've got a point? I don't, but anyway.
Well, look, let's just say it's been a long transition period for India. There was a long transition period while Kohli and Rohit Sharma were being managed in the back end of their career. And, none of the players who've come along in the interim, we've been used to players being a bit like Jaiswal, who've come in straight away and kind of seized their opportunity. But he's now the exception. Rahul has had a long career that has had its highs and lows, but he had a poor series here. You've got Jarrell, you've got Sudarshan, you've got Padikkar, you've got Sarfraz Khan, Rajat Patidar, Shreyas Iyer, Ishan Kishan, always a favourite of mine.
Even you just Sky, like saying it. Yeah.
Even Sky hasn't prospered. We saw his only test match, and then they left him out, and it's kind of been forgotten that he played test cricket altogether. And before that, of course, Pete, we had your favourite and mine, Prithvi Shaw, the only man to get a full-blooded profile in a national Australian daily newspaper on the same day that he got injured and sent home. Tell us that story again, Pete.
Yeah, good, yeah. Right up there with my beer story. I love telling that one. Wally rang, can we get a picture of this Prithvi Shaw to go with that fantastic piece you've written? And I said, yeah, probably. They're carrying him off on a stretcher right now. That's why teams should never play tour games.
You did.
Never play tour games. You can get injured.
That's the curse of Sports Illustrated, isn't it? They've had good players, but Mayank Agarwal, Hanamal Vihari, Karunaya, but somehow there's still this lacuna. There's still this gap, isn't there, in the Indian team, where you expect there to be a single batter or maybe two batters of great authority ready to go into the slot. It is a country so rich in playing resources. Maybe it's too rich. Maybe it's the paradox. It's the resources curse. They have so many good players to pick from that they don't know who to choose.
What are they playing their first class?
Obvious. Yeah. They play a lot of first class cricket. Yeah.
What are they playing their first class cricket on these days? I wonder what the pitches are like around the country.
Yeah, good question.
Actually, speaking of India, I hope you've made a note, Gideon, because very exciting. You'll be going to the Commonwealth Games in 2030 because they're in Ahmedabad.
I think I'll be going to Perth then.
Well, I think Ahmedabad's the sort of Hindu word for Perth.
That'd be my nightmare city, wouldn't it? A Perthabad. A combination of the two.
Imagine what Ahmedabad's like for me, mate. I drink.
I shouldn't speak too soon. I've got potentially 3 days off in Brisbane.
Have you? Yeah.
Let's not even laugh about that.
Anything else going on in your life, Gideon, or have we covered the cricket off?
I think we have, and that's probably all we've got time for on Cricket et al. This week. It's been great to have you with us. We'll probably pod again before we head off to Brisbane next week. But we'll both be there, and we're thoroughly looking forward to it. Wouldn't mind a little bit of rain just to pad things out.
Oh, for God's sake!
The Test match goes to
God's sake!
I wouldn't mind a repeat of last year's Test match where we were still there on the last day, because I'm not in the mood for another lay day in another city away from home. And it's all about me, isn't it? It's all about
Where are you staying? Do you have it at your fingertips?
Oh, it's the world's smallest hotel room.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not the Econo Lodge. I think
no,
stayed at the Econo Lodge about 10 years ago.
No, that's too expensive for me.
Is it?
You'll see. Great to have you with us. Back again next week. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.